executives. The social media, the audience is very attuned to voice, very attuned to consistency. If you they would turn against you very quickly if they think that they've been misled or lied to. Quick example: anchors going to Davos. One anchor, I'll leave her name out of it, didn't want to do anything about social media, and so they said to me, "Hey, Ron, set up her account, and we'll have one of the producers, write her tweets." And I said, "No." Okay, so I set up the account. Instead of being from her, it was from her team. And in the description, I said, "From the producers of so-and-so at." So the first tweet that came out said, "I'm getting ready for my first interview." I got on the phone to Switzerland and I said, "You can't use first person when you're writing on behalf of somebody." And we've nipped that really quickly. So, but you really can't, you can't be like Kmart and hire your advertising agency's employees to say they go around the country and block from every Kmart, and then they find out, oh, they're paid employees of the advertising agency. You can't be like the president of Whole Foods who uses his wife's account to denigrate Cambridge Foods, the biggest competitor, before they buy him, and then finds out, oh, it's really him. The people who worry about social media hear all of these horror stories, and that turns a lot of them off before they even take the time to understand it. So, to get back to your question, you really can't get people to do it if they don't want to do it. They can do some static things. They can have a Facebook page. They can have a LinkedIn account. They doesn't have to have the status updates that you normally would have in first person. But it could be an opportunity for people to find them and to at least communicate one way or the other. And if the response comes from the customer service department or it comes from his admin, then as long as it's clearly stated, there's no problem with that.
Thank you. More questions? Yes, please.
Hi, Dan Simon, Cognito. Jonathan, I'm fascinated by this Dunbar number thing. I think it's wonderful, and it's of personal interest to me. I think it's like 148.5 or something like that. But
I stand corrected.
Whatever. I've been reading about it recently. I hear what you're trying to say about smashing that number, but as I understand it, it's a fixed number, and there's a study by Nature, or one of these scientific publications, that actually looked at trying to break the Dunbar number on Facebook and it not being possible. So my question is it a physical limitation? How do we establish meaningful relationships with more than 150 people? Is there a way to shortcut it? Can we have real relationships, or are they fake relationships beyond a certain number?
Great question, and I appreciate as much as I talk about Dunbar's number, now that I know the accurate number, so I really thank you. I think that the answer to your question is yes, it is a physical limitation. The idea is that there is a cognitive limit on how many people we can have an ongoing relationship with. But that does not mean we can't smash through that number. I think that your question and the question before are very intertwined. We are using social media channels to build relationships specifically for our CEO and with other people, even though he cognitively cannot have an ongoing relationship with more than 150. We are very transparent on his social media channels when someone else is guest posting or something of that nature, and we review with him the relationships that have been built through that channel. So it is a cognitive limit, but we can scale our ability to have relationships through this channel.
Just one other quick point there.
Yeah.
We didn't evolve wings and learn to fly. We built an airplane. If we start thinking about that 150 friend number, I mean, we can think about how we can use tools to basically augment that ability. The idea that we can, change, to some extent, change the meaning of friendship. And maybe we use that term way too much. I mean, I have a few friends. I have a lot of acquaintances. I have some coworkers that I'm here in a group of, with colleagues. How can we compartmentalize those different types of acquaintances and figure out how we can use our technology to make it possible to have better relationships with all of those different groups?
Doug makes an incredible point. It reminds me, I think that that we are seeing in relationships through social media what happened to the internet and content 10 years ago. So if we think of the original HTML, that was where we were. That was the 150 number. We could only put content on a single web page. Then came XML, which really unleashed the web and allowed us to separate content from form. And we could put the same content in multiple places, RSS, etc. Social media is doing that to people what XML did to content. And we are seeing that, you know, the same things I'm saying, while I'm saying it to you all, it's also being said to people far away and without time constraints.
And thanks to the Library of Congress archiving every tweet that's out there. If you want some poor research associate in 300 years to come across what, when they're studying B2B social media in its earliest days, please put your thoughts up there. I think we have time for just one more quick question and one more quick answer.
Hi. Steve Seaman, Makovsky and Company. My question is, we've been seeing a lot of success on the part of B2C companies in selling directly through social media. The big thing now is social media coupons. Very, very popular and very, very effective. What's the analogous opportunity to sell for B2B companies? Obviously, you can't really do coupons, and you know, regardless of what metrics you're using now, ultimately, someone at the C-level is going to say, "How is this impacting my sales?" How do you do that in social media as a B2B company?
Who wants to take the last answer of the night?
I'll tell you one thing that we're trying to figure out is, you know, we are to some degree, you know, selling listings in real estate. So all of our stuff is listed. We are, to us, it's a natural extension of that again to how do we socialize those listings. So developing an industry standard of tagging that we can put out when we have space available. Okay, here, you know, here it is, so people can easily access it, and then, you know, then start using that as then the first step in that engagement around that sale. So I don't think we'll ever get to a point where our people won't be involved and it'll be a direct sale, but at least it's that first step for us.
One quick thought on that is the idea that, you know, a sale will hardly ever come from a single tweet. So if we think about the idea of social media as an extension of a customer service support system, and, you know, look for people's problems, you provide answers, you know, and to really kind of, you know, inform them about the products, the services that are available. I think that will eventually lead to, you know, kind of social media sales.
The B2B cycle is longer than B2C, but you have to say to yourself, on either end are human beings, individuals, and say to yourself, who would I rather deal with? Somebody who I kind of know, I've heard their point of view, I've agreed on certain things. You know, the biggest hook in social media is called, you know, people like me. It's when people find other people who have similar likes. And you can do that on B2B as well. Secondly, key influencers. Every social media people I talk to who are looking to do some expanded listening and monitoring and reporting and so on. The first thing was we identified the key influencers. So to influence those key influencers, be they people who review your product, your competition even, to be able to be out there and have those inroads where somebody else supports you based upon what they've learned on social media is also a positive for B2B.
Yeah, if I may, I want to echo, I think, what Doug just said. The answer to the problem of scale is community, right? So people will say it's the Dunbar problem. You can't scale past 150, but your community can, because they each have their own 100.